A very good afternoon and welcome to a brightening Lahti for the men's 15-kilometer classic style. And alongside myself, Mike Dixon, together with myself, David Goldstrom, for this endurance race, which promises to be quite a test. In one sense, it's pretty open. There are people like Martin Jonsrud-Sundby, who the bookmakers make a clear favourite, but conditions will play a part, as they did in yesterday's women's 10-kilometre classic. And so before we concentrate on today's race, let's look back at that triumph for Norway and, of course, Marit Bjørgen. Well, it was a 16th gold medal that she achieved yesterday, giving Norway 99 golds in their history of the Nordic Ski World Championships. And Mike, it was quite a performance.
It was an amazing performance. She started with real purpose. She set all the early paces for all the rest of the athletes to chase down. 1.5, she was the fastest. She maintained that throughout the race. And Charlotte Kalla had a lot of work to try and close these gaps down.
Conditions certainly played their part, and the service teams were under pressure, Mike.
Very much so, and as she crossed the line, a little interview later, there she goes across the line for that 99th gold medal for Norway.
I was really
and
she from the beginning.
There she is.
I really wanted to go home, and Bertha had a good feeling when we tested skis, and my skis was so perfect today, and I just couldn't ski and relax. And yeah, I think I took the lots of seconds in the second lap, so yeah, it was an amazing race. It's very good, and individual start was one of my favorite before we came here, so and yeah, it goes my way, so I'm really happy.
A mighty 41-second margin with a delighted Astrid Jacobsen on the right of your screen there. A second endurance individual medal in 2 World Championships. Delight for her. 2 Norwegians and split by Charlotte Kalla of Sweden. Well, we're going to take a little break. We won't desert you for too long, I promise you. We'll be back in the main stadium here for the cross country after this. Well, today we're looking forward to discovering who might win the 4th gold medal of the men's menu of World Championship challenges. But as ever, before we get to that, we look back to the very first 3. We're here in Lahti, the winter sports capital of Finland, in their centenary year, 100 years. It's actually going to be celebrated in December, but Finland, like just about everywhere in the world, likes to have a long celebration. The men's 15-kilometer classic with still, of course, the relays and the endurance 50-kilometer race to come. But, of course, it all got underway, Mike, last week with the sprint.
What a sprint race it was, David, and many surprises, many situations we didn't expect. And that's what makes sprinting and cross-country skiing so exciting. Pellegrino, what a surprise for him, what a surprise for many, but this is how it went. Ustjugov has done nothing or did nothing wrong. The qualifying, he set the fastest. He led practically everything, and Pellegrino in the final just stuck to him, just hoping that he had an opportunity, some chance to move ahead. And coming around the home straight, there's a very strong wind coming in, and Ustjugov, I think, just went a little early, allowing Pellegrino to come wide and take the gold medal. Ustjugov was destroyed. He couldn't believe that he let it slip away. There he goes. And Klæbo, the 20-year-old for Norway, taking the bronze. 1 gold for Pellegrino at these, well, in his career. And he praised his team so much. I love the way he praised everybody, the team, the small budget, the whole gang.
The new Zorzi.
Well, Zorzi's out there helping and assisting, and well, this was the second of the men's race, and equally many surprises. But I suppose it wasn't a surprise out front with Ustjugov and Sundby. In the earlier part of the race, it was Norwegians sticking to Ustjugov. Later, it remained as just one Norwegian, the great Sundby. And this was the final 1 kilometre. Sumbi knew he had one chance, and it was to break on this hill. He put in a phenomenal tempo, but he lost his placement of his left pole, skied over his right pole, and he lost 6 seconds. Ustiugov took that, capitalised on that one little mistake, and once again he takes a gold, or for the first time, of course, takes the gold medal, silver in the sprint.
A great performance, and what a season, having already wrapped up the Tour de Ski in such magnificent style.
Incredible. He dropped off form after the Tour de Ski, but he's back at the top now.
Серебряную медаль, она же у меня осталась серебряная, я хотел золото, но я очень рад, что сегодня нам удалось выиграть, и у нас все получилось. Это не только моя победа, это победа нашей команды, и большое спасибо нашему сервис-персоналу, потому что сегодня были у меня лыжи одни из лучших. Я думаю, все это видели.
Well, he was just saying there that he knew he had to stay with Sumbi. He knew he had to fight to give himself that final opportunity, and he took that opportunity when the ski pole broke. Well, this moves on to the third of the competitions, and it went so wrong for Norway, leading for nearly all of the race. And Finland, right in behind, couldn't get past. They were taken out of the formula. It looked like Finland were going to win. And look at Ustiugov. He saw the opportunity. He was fourth, very quickly up into first. Ustiugov, another gold. Italy, a silver. And Finland, so unhappy with a bronze.
So Ustiugov, the star of the first week, 2 golds and a silver medal, and everything going his way. And he is very much the superstar of the men's division at these championships.
Yes, and I've got some friends living up in Moscow, and they were saying he's such a positive guy. You know, he'll keep fighting. He always believes there'll be a situation where he can come through and win. And they were saying, well, he's made his own luck throughout all his racing career. Never gives up.
Yeah, and you know, we first saw him when he was a terrific junior, was winning even university ad medals as well, and he's come through in a very measured way, and I truly believe that what we're seeing is, you know, absolutely honest and true.
I think so. I really hope so. But we saw the class act that, as you said, that he was as a junior, and he's carrying that through as a senior.
So time now to concentrate on today's race. The start just a few minutes away. So this is the men's 15-kilometre classic race, and in stride and glide style, as Mike Dixon and myself, David Goldstrom, look forward to hosting you through what should be a very entertaining but also a very tough race here. The weather conditions were challenging yesterday. They were challenging also for the servicemen.
15K
and here's one man who might well feature large in the race, Mike.
Today, though. You're looking forward to it?
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. And the conditions is pretty tough, so it will be a hard race. And yeah, I think it's a lot of uphills here, so it will be really tough.
We know you're a great sprinter. We saw you on the podium last week, really strong in the team sprint. Good confidence boost from the team that they put you in all these events?
Yeah, my shape is really good, so I hope I can be fast today, and hopefully I can go a pretty good race today.
All right, well, we wish you all the best out there.
Thank you.
Well, Mike, the course here, it's as challenging as ever, and those of you with us over the weekend will have enjoyed the skiathlon. And basically, Mike, it's the same tracks.
It really is, and as Klæbo was alluding to, look at all these little, sharp, horribly steep climbs. It has its own personality, as every course does, and a total climb, as you can see that journey there, that's the 2 times 375, both north and south lap of 375, and a total climb of 546 meters.
I gather that some of you may have lost your pictures, so we'll give you a reprise on the course just before we get underway. Here you can see some of the stars there. Didrik Tønseth for Norway, very much a player, the 25-year-old from Trondheim. And Johan Olsen, well, he prepares on his own, but of course he is a champion. He is the champion of the world from 2015. However, that race was in freestyle. Today is in classic, but nonetheless, he is a man to be respected. And the Swedish servicemen yesterday, they got it absolutely right. So did the Norwegians. Not so for the Finns, Mike.
The Finns, they were so disappointed, and they have such confidence in the wax technicians, and even they, who know the snow so well, the different temperatures on the course from the low point to the high point, they're all major factors. They got it wrong. I'm quite sure they can't get it wrong again, David.
There are one or two absentees who we should point out. The Olympic champion, Dario Colonia, sidelined with injury and still recovering. Petter Northug, his decision to concentrate on the 50 rather than coming into this today. Ustegov, the star of the first week, he has decided to rest at this particular moment. And also the Canadian, Alex Harvey, not involved.
That's incredible. Well, Alex probably looking for the 50-kilometer titles again. He's very good at 50.
And Alex Harvey not here, but Sundby is the bookmaker's favourite and very strong at 6-4. Niskanen of Finland 4-1. Turnseth 13-1 with Johan Olsen. Jorman Klebo 22-1. Poltaranin of Kazakhstan. His form would suggest that he's not going to be a player, but he's such a dark horse, you just simply can't write him off. He's 15-1. Besmertnik of Russia 21-1. Dirhaug. There was a bit of controversy about whether he was or was not going to get in the team, Mike.
Very much so, and it's rare that in the Norwegian team that one athlete will complain. They never complain. They stick to team orders and respect the decisions. But when he was told he would not be involved, even here today, he would be first reserve, he went to the papers and he said, well, listen, I've done so much, I should be in this. And I agree with him in a sense. He's always there when it comes to 15-kilometer. When it comes to 30 kilometers, his classic is excellent. But
I gather
he's in by default. Sorry, he's been brought in as a reserve, and he'll do well.
Well, thank you very much, everybody, for your patience. We had a struggle with the pictures, but we can now go back from Radio Eurosport to television Eurosport. And this is the sort of atmosphere here. I wouldn't say it's as packed, Mike, as it was over the weekend here, when there were some 30,000. But there are a lot of people out around the trails. So it's difficult to judge, but I sense it's around probably the 20,000 mark when you add everybody together.
It is Andrew Young there. Good to see him again. What a season he's had in his sprint competitions mainly, and of course the third place in Toblach last year in the World Cup.
But fair play, he didn't actually deliver the result he wished for in the sprints. But here we go, 15,000 meters, stride and glide, the first of 89 men from 37 nations.
Well, bib number one yesterday, Anika Taylor felt the pressure, and often that is the case. We'll have to wait and see what happens to Rehema.
Yes, this is Alva Rehema, 34 years of age, from Utapa, where the trails are just as tough, if not tougher, than this course here in his 7th World Championship, and he's on his way. He was actually 7th in the World Championship of 2013 over this distance, but that was a freestyle race. Bib number 2 here from Ivan Lyuft from Kazakhstan, only 18 years of age. Will we ever see another Smirnov, I wonder?
Hey, it's possible. The facilities at the university out there in Almaty, wonderful tracks, wonderful infrastructure. Why not? They've got plenty of snow, they can train, they can compete.
Poland now, and Jan Antolet. Disappointed yesterday with Justyna Kowalczyk. She looks as if she was up for it as she went out of the stadium, but the dynamic wasn't there.
Something was missing, and often when you aim just on one day, and that's what Justyna has been doing, which was yesterday, you put everything into that one day, and often the nerves can override all that good physical condition that we saw her showing in the sprint competition.
Bib number 4 here by Eddie Dadits of Croatia, 23 years of age, and about to start 30 seconds after him, a man a young man with a famous family name. So as Tadic gets out, the man moving into the start box is Andreas Veerpalu, whose father won the World Championship in 2009 in Liberec. And this is the young man with a bit of pressure on his shoulders, inevitably. 22 years of age from Otapa. Good luck to Andreas Veerpalu.
It'd be interesting, David, and he must be 22-year-old. He must be feeling a little nervous, but he has been around the World Cups for, what, 2 or 3 years now. So he knows how this works, and I think he knows how to deal with the pressure. But it must be a lot of different pressure when he'll always be compared to his father.
Yeah, he competed in the warm-up race before these World Championships. It's uncanny how the races immediately before the World Championships, which are over the same distance and in the same style, how often they throw up the winner of the World Championships. A bright blue and yellow race suit there for Alexei Krasovsky of the Ukraine. And this is going to take a while to unfold, isn't it, Mike? Charlotte Kalla became the pathfinder in the women's race. That's who we're going to be looking for in the men's race also.
Yes, I think Emil Jonsson, bib 18, will be setting some of the early pace. Andrew Young starting bib number 10. He's going to, I'm quite sure, go out strong and try and set an early pace as well. A lot of these early starters slightly lower ranked in terms of FIS points, pathfinders, and very, very wet conditions, David, giving everybody some difficulty. All the technicians, as usual, a little flustered.
Yeah, Mike, you might take us a little deeper into that, because it was a very wet night, wasn't it? And that has changed the track.
Exactly. The snow was yesterday powder snow with that recent 0.2 of a metre of new snow on top. Last night, the heavy, heavy rain, it filters, it gets rid of all that beautiful powder snow and turns the surface into quite icy crystals. So it's a clister day today, a very sticky wax, as the ski poles are being measured at 83% of your total height. The officials doing that. So yes, it's still a clister day today, and the icy all around in the track and out off the track as well.
Well, here you get a flavour of a little bit of downhill. And the result of that rain, Mike, is that it could be quite quick.
I think so. You can see as the ski poles go down, there's a splashing. It's still very wet snow. And often that actually creates a bit of an anchor. It's more friction under the ski. So I would expect nothing better than 38 minutes today. At best, we'll have to wait and see.
The first of the climbs on this 3.75 kilometre loop. And Mike, we lost the little picture of the course map, unfortunately, when we lost pictures. So perhaps take us through this first loop that they're on now.
Well, as Youngie heads out, so you go round the north course of 3.75. Its personality is incredibly undulating, but a recovery back down into the stadium. And then you've got the mammoth climb from the stadium all the way under the ski jumps, a rise of 46 metres. As you go out on the second, the southerly 3.75. So those two laps combined are 7.5. You do both of them twice. Antolet's setting a decent early pace there at 1.5 kilometres. 3 minutes 25.
Next man to get away, representing Liechtenstein. Well, the man that we all remember in our distant history, Marcus Hassler of Liechtenstein.
Yeah, he was great, and he was so good, and from such a small country which had no history in cross-country skiing, the Norwegians kind of adopted him, let him attend training camps, and he really did well, taking a number of podiums in his career.
Another man from Otapa, 31-year-old Algo Karp. He was outside the top 50 in the 15-kilometre classic race the Sunday before the championships opened up here. But I have to say, the atmosphere building all the time here in the stadium. Lots of school kids have got the days off, but there's a good number of spectators who've clearly made the journey here. Just a reminder of our email address, NordicSkiTV@gmail.com, for your comments and thoughts. And any questions to Mike, I'm sure he'd be delighted to answer them about the conditions, the athletes, whatever you want to know. Mike's ready to answer.
Thanks, David. Anything at all. There's the athletes just getting a bag there to put all their clothing in is numbered. You get that straight away as you cross the line, as you get your breath back after your efforts over 15 kilometers. Okolaj for Kazakhstan. Only one World Cup competition leading into this. He was 44th in a 15 kilometer. So a big, new, scary experience. You can see how wet the snow is as we look down at the snow there. Just very wet, big snow crystals, a little icy.
Buddy for Poland. New generation of Polish cross-country skiers. But getting ever closer to the start of Emil Jönsson. I thought a terrific race by his partner Anna Haag yesterday for Sweden. That was a remarkable performance from such an early start number.
It really was, and a little bit like Jönsson, Haag just selects her races these days and focuses entirely on that. And yes, 5th in the women's 10-kilometer classic yesterday.
Yeah, they live in Östersund part of the year. They've got a high-altitude house at Davos, which obviously helps them, and they're both absolutely passionate. Emil Jönsson, of course, famous for his Olympic bronze medal in Sochi in the freestyle sprint, and also a bronze, here he is, in Oslo in the World Championship sprint of 2011. But he can do the distance as well as the sprints. So early days in this 15-kilometer classic race. Mike, you've skied round this track quite a lot of times. How do you rate it? I mean, also, you know, you were skiing here back in 1989. I hate to remind you, but, you know, there is a big difference between the tracks then and the tracks now. Yes,
what they've done in recent years, because athletes were beginning to double pole every single track, it was almost becoming a new angle like skating did back in 1985. So they've made much more aggressive, steep climbs to prevent an entirely double poling track. And that's why I think we're seeing the profile, David, 28 years later, much more undulating, much steeper hills to take away this double poling races that we were beginning to see.
Very good afternoon, everybody up at the Huntly Ski Club. Hopefully we've got your company. Just to tell you that Andrew Young, 4 minutes 18.2. He's travelling at about the same speed as young Andreas Verpalu. But my question, Mike, is what does Andrew Young get out of this? Because he's a big guy, and really his destiny is sprint. So what does he get out of this 15 kilometers?
Well, incredibly, although, as you say, he is an out-and-out sprinter, but he has had some very good results this season in skiathlon competition, so the classic followed by the freestyle. So he is up there as well in the distance races, and you need to keep your endurance. You need to keep your endurance base as well, even as a sprinter. So a lot to gain, and let's hope he can get at least halfway up the field, top 30. That would be perfect. Top 25 would be even better.
And like Annika now spending a lot of time, like Andrew, in Norway, but in his case, Lillehammer.
That's right. Annika's up in Lillehammer, so is Andrew. So it's a great place to be, sort of the centre of excellence in Norway. Of course, many other areas, Tromsø good, but so many people loving Lillehammer for its great summer training. Good to see Iceland at the races. Still in the race very much there, just 2.8 seconds behind.
Yeah, I think it's also important, Mike, to realise that, you know, we know that there's a group of maybe 10 to 15 who are in the hunt realistically for the medals. But, you know, the majority of the field have set personal targets, which are, you know, I want to be in the top 10 or the top 20 or the top 30.
And you have to do that as an athlete. Of course, there will only be one winner. So you've got you potentially, it's 89 disappointed athletes. So you've got to set your own personal goals for your particular part in your career and your progress.
But there is also a financial link to that, isn't it? Because according to where you end up and the targets that you hit will and can determine the financial support you get for the following season.
Oh, very much so, very much. And of course, many teams, that is medals. That's top 5. Salvadori, well, he's another star for Italy, and he is a classic specialist.
Yeah, he was under 23 in the World Championships of 2015, finished 4th. That was a freestyle race, but as you say, 24, just maturing now. And here's a much more experienced man, Bolshentsev for Russia, early 30s. He was 16th in Otapa. That was the race that was won by Sunbi. And he was 1 minute and 33 behind Sunbi on that occasion.
I think he'll be better today. And remember back in Oslo, the World Championships, in this race, he finished 4th. He was only 5 seconds off the bronze medal on that day.
Now, Alexei Poltaranin, there you can see 9 World Cup wins, 2-time World Championship bronze medalist. Now, one of those bronze medals was in the World Championships of 2013 in the 50-kilometer classic, so he can go the distance, no question about that. And in Otapa, he was just over a minute behind Sunbi, but he could improve.
I think so. He hasn't had a great season, Poltarainen, at all. Came in very weak in November, but yes, much better now.
Well, Lucas Bauer, an old friend, 39 years young, 10th World Championship. These days manages the Pioneer Investment Team, part of the Visma Classic circuit. But 15 kilometers, classic style, freestyle, doesn't matter. He was an Olympic bronze medalist in Vancouver in 15-kilometer freestyle, but he got a classic silver in Liberec on Czech snow in 2009.
Oh, he's the real deal, and of course winning the Tour de Ski, that crazy event when it started 11 years ago, of what, 9 races in 11 days. It's been reduced a little since then.
Yeah, interesting to see how Bauer goes, because like so many racers, you know, if he now finds his rhythm, if he feels that the servicemen have done the job and the skis start to grip on that first climb, he'll just relax a little bit more. If he gets a good start, you just don't know, even though he's got an early start number, how effective he might be.
Yeah, and when you've got a wise old head, you know, a very experienced name like Bauer, if you're on form, and he wouldn't be here if he wasn't on form, then great things can still happen.
This guy's no outsider, is he? From Davos, Jonas Baumann, and he was 11th in Otapa. And, of course, no Dario Cologna. So sad that he's missing.
He's still got his fan club. The bells are ringing out there as they bring the Swiss bells, cowbells. But they'll be cheering him on Sunday.
So this is Baumann getting underway. And Baumann, who was outside the top 20 in the Olympic Games.
And of course, just his recent form, I think you maybe alluded to, 11th in Otapa. I think Baumann has a chance here, certainly of the top 6. He's that good.
Martin Jaks, another very experienced member of the Czech team, very useful in the relay. Interesting, I'm sure he's going to go in the relay later in the week.
Yes, a very good relay man. When he mass starts for the Czech Republic, he's normally getting himself into that top 5 position, which is only a few seconds off the fastest. A good, aggressive start. Juha Järvi, he did so well in the team sprint to place Niskanen ready to attack, and we saw Niskanen on the last bend, just about lining himself up for the goal. Then he was taken out by the Norwegian, Iversen.
Bing for Germany. Well, the heady days of Germany winning the titles. Well, the last man to win the 15-kilometer title, that was Axel Teichmann back in the World Championships of 2003 in Predazzo.
Salvadori, well, I think we expected great things off him today, and I hope he can provide us with great things, but 2.6 off the pace at 1.5 kilometre.
Yeah, I think we're not worried. It's so early in the race here.
Yeah.
They're just finding their rhythm. It's going up that first climb, Mike. You know, Marit Bjørgen was sort of alluding to it yesterday. She was nervous before the start, but as soon as she got onto that climb, when she realised that the serviceman had given her a great pair of skis, she must have relaxed.
Can you imagine that?
Well, she didn't relax, actually. She put her foot on the accelerator, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
She had confidence.
But can you imagine, your name Marit Bjørgen, you're so nervous, all you want to do is go home. You know, she was so fearful. And as you say, the skis were excellent, and then she relaxed into what she does best. Polterainen, that's comfortable.
And a huge roar for the Olympic sprint champion with Niskanen. And the team sprint has become the most comfortable, the most enjoyable race for Järvi. And the Lahti crowd, look at that. That's absolutely wonderful. And he gets a rousing send-off.
That's a brilliant start there for Juha Järvi. Small in stature, but large in his fight.
But now look who's away, and look at the determination. That was almost a sprint out of the gate. The 22-to-1 shot with the bookmakers, Klæbo, and you think he's going to have a good afternoon.
David, I just feel this man today can get up there and touch or breathe at least on the podium. He's that good. He's only 20. 3 gold medals at the Junior World Champs. They call him the new Northug. I think he's better than Northug.
Yeah, and he was one of those medals was the Junior Worlds over 10 kilometers in classic style. So that was the promise, but now the moment for him as Sergei Turyshev. He was 15th in Otava. That wasn't a bad performance by this Russian.
Turyshev and classic is his speciality. I think he was 5th at the Oslo 50-kilometer classic, the World Championships, and that's no mean feat. You've got to be efficient in your technique over 50.
So everybody going off at 30 seconds, but the big stars are separated by a minute here. The men most likely to, let's put it that way. And the next man who is most likely to is Didrik Turnstedt, wearing bib number 42 from Trondheim. Top 10 in Otapa, 74 seconds behind Norwegian teammate Sundby.
Sundby was on fire that day, a huge victory. Here he is, Turnstedt. He always provides, David. You need a man like Turnstedt. He'll never let you down in the relay. In all these distance races, he'll be there or thereabouts. Certainly a top 8, I think we can almost guarantee today.
And he's got a real reason for going for this, because at the last World Championships in Falun, he finished 4th. Oh, something he will not want to do again. Here's the man from Vermont, Andrew Newell. We know him better as a sprinter, but again, a little bit like Andrew Young, probably using this to top up his endurance.
I think so. And 59th here in 2015 when they ran a 15-kilometer classic.
And next to start will be Sweden's Kalle Halvarsson. Not out of this, but interesting, Mike, a yellow card against his name for an earlier infraction during the competition. Now, I know you can't answer this because I can't answer it, and I can't find the answer. How many yellow cards do you get before you're stood down?
Do you know what? It is a mystery. I've asked everybody. I've asked people in the FIS. I think it's always there just threatening people. But Kalle got it in the skiathlon. He stepped out of the tracks. He put 2 skate actions in, and he was awarded it immediately. Yeah. But then in the sprint races, we saw a number of athletes in the classic putting 4 or 5 skates in as they exited the stadium, and they didn't get yellow cards. So it's all a bit of a mystery to me.
Romania, one of the 37 countries represented in today's race. And not far away now from Andrew Musgrave's start. Poltaranin, the first or the fastest man up the first 1,500 meters, 4 minutes and 1 second ahead of Algo Karp of Estonia. And Lucas Bauer 10 seconds behind Poltaranin. Emil Jonsson similarly, as Yao Järvi comes up here, and you can see Poltaranin's time, and you can see Yao Järvi, the deficit just building a little for the 35-year-old Finn. But this must be joyous to race in front of your home crowd.
Very much. Quite a margin, but it's still second place. Here's Klæbo. This will be interesting. That fight, the dynamic tempo that he has, and such a slender, such a light body weight, really does suit him these steep climbs.
Yeah, well, a second to the good. So Norway, of course, they're hunting their 100th gold medal of the Nordic Ski World Championships, as you see the grizzly bearded Sundby getting ready for his start. Larry Lehtonen to get underway for Finland. And we're just about a minute away now from Andrew Musgrave of Great Britain. I thought, Mike, a very decent 11th. It was a personal best in the World Championships for Andy. And only 37 seconds off the leader at the end of the skiathlon. I thought that was a decent race.
Incredible race, I think, David. You know, that is the World Championships. It was a 30-kilometer race, and he was only 6.2 seconds off the bronze medal. And I mean, those margins now are easily workable. It can easily be taken back, but it mainly is in the summer months to build the strength and the ability to be that little bit stronger.
Maciej Staregga, another man who's rather better known as a sprinter, going out on his 15-kilometer journey. And now Andrew Musgrave, here he is, 26 years of age now. Home really for him is Trondheim, and he's Britain's #1 big time.
He is. I had a chat with him over the fence as he was waiting for his skis. And you know what, Muzzy is such a relaxed bloke. I was saying, how are you feeling? Are you beginning to feel the nerves? He said, no, all I want is my skis. He was testing skis and just so composed.
Roy Young's the team manager, and he's got 3 men, Asmund, Bengte, Thomas, all looking after the skis and preparation. So fingers crossed that goes well. Alex and Josteiner out on the track doing the splits, and Roy will be out there as well. So our best wishes. Hopefully it's been a good start, and we'll know pretty quickly how Andrew's skis are running.
Yeah, I hope they run well. Here's Sundby, and just earlier we saw Niskanen, and I thought he was having a little argument in the pen, but he's now looking very relaxed in the pen. I thought there was a bit of a discussion on which skis to use, but he's clearly relaxed and happy.
So here is the man wearing the defending champion's bib from Falun, Johan Olsen, 36 years of age, married to Anna Haag, who had such a great race yesterday, 5th for Sweden. And this man now in his 7th World Championship. He is a gold medalist from Val di Fiemme over 50 kilometers. He's won the 15-kilometer free. Those are his 2 big gold medals. And an Olympic silver over 15 kilometers classic style in Sochi. So Olsen, he's got to be someone that you've got to keep a close eye on today.
Yes, and you know, you can't, it's very difficult to put into the head of an athlete that X factor where you can make the special days happen. And I think, of course, Olsen is one of these special guys. He's got the ability to to bring another percentage to his performance on any given day.
Rickardson for Sweden. Now this guy also, in my book, Mike, to be respected. Rickardson, who got a bronze medal in Sochi, and he's just about to get underway over 15 kilometers in classic style. So Poltaranin chasing Bolshentsev, and you can see a big bite out of Bolshentsev's time. So, Mike, once again, here we've got a very different race to the sort of races that we enjoyed during the first week. mass starts, but now individual time trial, different mental examination.
So different, David. You've got one track, one double track in this whole 15 kilometre. If you want to pass the athlete in front of you, you have to shout and they will move out of the way. It's just you against the clock.
Remember this guy, Mike, what was it, 2 years ago, 2015, coming to the end of the World Cup season, this great star of under 23, he's still just 23, Francesco De Fabiani, out of the blue, won the World Cup 15-kilometre classic. So he didn't race in Otapa, so we don't actually... Oh, that's not a great way to start.
That was a hop, a skip, and a little jump there, wasn't it? So enthusiastic.
But he could be a player.
I think he could be, and he was the biggest, you know, you love surprises as a commentator, as a spectator. And that day in 2015, I don't think anybody expected him to beat the likes of Sumbi, well, the rest of the best in the world.
And the next man to keep an eye on is going to be Jens Burman, I think.
Yeah, Burman, a 22-year-old, another great find for the Swedes. And he's from Osana, the same place as the great Gunde Svan.
Yeah, here he is, the under-23 2016 15-kilometre classic champion.
I did notice further out in the track, David, that Halvarsson's skis were occasionally slipping. Now, you need to have guaranteed grip up these steep climbs. It is a total climb of 566 metres in the whole 15 kilometres.
And once again, just to make the point here, those athletes signing on to that board are committing themselves to a career of clean racing.
Yes.
And it couldn't be more pertinent.
I think so. Yep. I don't like negativity in sport, but all endurance sports seem to suffer from some wrongdoing.
This man, Besmertnik, you just saw a shot of him about to start 7th in Otapa, 62 seconds behind Sundby.
Yeah, he's a very good classic skier, but I'm looking at Val de Fiemme. He was 8th. He was 8th in Falun, the Mastar skiathlon. He's always top 10, but he's not a finisher.
He was 7th in Sochi, so you make the point very well.
Yeah, he's great.
There.
He's great.
But can he kill it? Can he kill it and get onto the podium?
It's a different level, just those extra seconds, and Olsen's 5 seconds off the pace, which is a great start.
Yeah, and remember, Russia yesterday, serviceman, bad day at the office.
Bad day. The Russian girls in the race, they had no chance, absolutely no chance. Shekalova, we're expecting a top 7. She finished way in the 20s.
Next man to start for France is the cat, going to be magnificent. Maurice Magnificat, 15 kilometres. If it was freestyle, it would be more his cup of tea, but the distance is absolutely perfect, and you can see his achievements underneath his name there, and world silver medalist behind Johan Olsen 2 years ago. Plenty of French fans here. They were here for the Nordic Combined. They've come across earlier on. If you weren't with us, France had the best day in Nordic Combined Championship form here with 3 guys right up in the top 10. More of that to come later in the cross-country race.
Juha Järvi, he's hoovered up bib number 37, who started 30 seconds in front of him, Lukas Bögel. And Bögel doing the right thing. You stick in if you can and hold the pace of the man who's just passed you.
Olsen up the first climb, 1,500 metres, 5.5 seconds behind Klæbo.
Excellent. That's a good start. We saw Juha Järvi starting a little carefully. Now he's picking up his pace. He's only 4.7 behind.
Ivo Niskanen, the partner of Juha Järvi in the Olympic team gold medal achieving sprint that those two men had together. Well, and battle is really joined now.
The Klæbo just leaping out of the track and dancing his way with his moose running up this hill. A little unique technique he's evolving there.
Nicholas Dierhaug from Trondheim. almost on his way. He might well have started, actually. Just looking at 64, that's Niskanen going out of the stadium. We're looking for Dierhaug, then Heikkinen of Finland, and then Sundby to get underway. And Sundby's got all the advantages because he's behind all his, he's starting after all his main opponents, so he can get the splits on absolutely everyone. So Dierhaug, this guy is really motivated today.
He is, and it's, we mentioned earlier, unusual that he complained or went to the papers, but he felt it was injustice, and he's got his chance to race now.
In Otapa, in 4th place, 55 seconds, admittedly, behind Sundby. But again, when you just finished 4th, and another one just to almost cross skis on a corner.
It's an awkward, very awkward corner, that, David. And I'm thinking, just as I'm looking at that snow breaking up on that first corner, those who went early, the track was certainly a little more solid. So a slight advantage.
Klæbo, who is 1.5 seconds ahead of Poltarainen, 6 ahead of Järvijärvi at this as Turnset comes up and turns it all around. So Didrik Turnset, Norway, now leading at just shy of 5 kilometers.
And Turnset looking so easy and composed.
Right, another favourite Finnish son here, Matti Heikkinen. Well, the world champion, 15 kilometers in Oslo, 2011, and a bronze 2 years earlier than that in Liberec. 5th in Otapa, also within a minute of Sundby. And Sundby will be starting in 55 seconds time.
Well, Heikkinen, the coaches used to say, you never know about Heikkinen, saying, is he going to win today? He said, they say, you never know. He'll have one amazingly great day and then he'll have 9 bad days. Let's hope today is his great day.
Yeah, I mean, there's a real sense of excitement, isn't there, in the whole of this stadium here.
It's buzzing. And of course, Heikkinen, as you mentioned, taking that gold medal in Oslo, he wasn't favourite. In fact, he was 40-1, and that was his great day. He can often bring it together.
Do you remember that burst up that final incline before they came back into the stadium? It was just a remarkable piece of skiing. And here's a man who looks absolutely full of energy. The tank is full, and he's about to move. And it's Jonsrud Sundby, a bronze medalist from Oslo in 2011, behind Heikkinen, and also the silver medalist in 2013. So he's been a bit of a nearly man at this particular test.
He looked like a caged animal there, ready to unleash, and boy, is he unleashing out of that stadium.
Well, when we deserted you a moment ago, you were seeing Andrei Larkov. He's now at 4.7 kilometers, gone second behind Didrik Turnset by just under 2 seconds. And we'll give you an update on Andrew Musgrave, who's coming up to 4,700 meters.
Yeah, I don't know if you noticed there, David, Dierhaug, his skis, he was gliding so much further up that hill. His skis are gliding beautifully well, and that's good news for him, and probably good news for all the Norwegians.
Yes, you do get the impression that the Norwegian servicemen are on the money yet again.
If you have 40 servicemen, you'd be disappointed if they didn't get it right for 4 athletes.
Kalle Halvarsson for Sweden into 3rd place, 6 seconds off at 4.7 kilometers. That is equal with Klæbo. Poltarainen 8 seconds back. Järvijärvi 12 seconds back at 4,700 meters. So that's like completing the first of those 3.75 kilometer loops. And here comes Heikkinen to challenge Klæbo, who is still the fastest man up the first climb of 1,500 meters.
To the point, he's just gliding down now, but to the high point there, it was almost climbing since he left the stadium. A little recovery now, this fearsomely steep climb now.
Disappointing news from Andrew Musgrave, Mike. Up the first 1,500 meters, 4:14. That's 14 seconds off the money. That does not bode too well, I'm afraid.
It's a little flat. He may well be. He used to be so enthusiastic. He got too fast too soon. Hopefully, he's just pacing it well.
He's ranked 7th at 4.7 kilometers. He's 19 seconds behind Turnset. He's traveling at about the same speed as Tudyshev of Russia, and about 7 seconds behind Järvijärvi.
Interesting. Olsen is so experienced, he will be starting within himself, but I think he'll be a little concerned that he's 7.9 behind.
Yeah, well, the Swedish serviceman did a great job yesterday. The Finns were a little bit off the money, and Poltarainen up at 9.5 kilometers. That's 26 seconds, the Kazakh, ahead of Emil Jönsson and the likes of Volchentsev, 28 seconds back, and also Salvadori, the young Italian.
Very much. I think Sundby will be delighted that he's only 1.4 off the pace. Yeah. And as you said earlier, it's what an advantage. Bib number 70, all his main rivals are ahead of him, and there's so many Norwegian staff out here who are will be giving him splits, his timings, what he needs to do, and that really is an advantage.
Heikkinen 8 seconds off the pace. Rickardson was 9 seconds off the pace at 1,500 meters, but it seems that the Swedes have all started steady.
Well,
that's a slip from Rickardson.
Couple of slips there. I mentioned that earlier. I saw Halvorsen slipping as well.
A little bit of herringbone you saw there, just on the lip.
Well, that's more expensive energy, the herringbone running, so it's better if you can stay in the tracks. Here's Klæbo. Hardly looks out of breath there, Klæbo, so composed.
6 seconds down on teammate Tørnset at 4.7 kilometers. Tørnset still the fastest man through 5.7. And 1.3 seconds behind him is Larkov, and they are pacing each other.
Interesting. That was interesting at 1.5. Klæbo, you know, this youthful enthusiasm I keep talking about, but maybe less knowledgeable on how to pace yourself over 15. So he's charged out of the stadium. I hope he maintains his pace. There's Muzzy, 14 down at 1.5.
So let's say, Mike, all the major contenders are through the first 1,500 meters now.
They are, and Youngie, that's good, only 4 seconds off Muzzy's time.
Yeah, he was disappointing in the sprint, wasn't he? 22 seconds, he just didn't seem to turn up on the day.
Yes, no, I think there was some health issues there as well,
yeah,
which are disappointing, but we know he's done it before. I'm sure he'll do it again, that 3rd place in Toblach.
Yeah, and I think working and living in Lillehammer can only enhance his prospects.
I think so. He's in the right place to get the expertise and the right training partners. Great venue.
Muzzy through 5.7 kilometers. He's now 21 seconds down on Tørnset, and about 9 down on Järvijärvi. So he's steadied the pace with Järvijärvi.
That's good. That is good. Here's the 22-year-old Burman. Really attacking. He's sliding the hip forward to maximize the reach through his leg, through his foot, compressing down quickly. You need a lot of force to press the ski flat to get the wax gripping.
And I can tell you that Klæbo and Olsen are virtually matching pace at 4.7 kilometers. Oh, that looked a little hard, didn't it? Yeah, that was quite hard work. Besmertnik.
Composed. He always is. He's a little bit like Poltarainen. It's never gets overexcited. Big, tall athlete, just keeps the efficiency of his legs and arms movement together. Slipping a little.
He was only 5-6 seconds off the money at 1,500 meters, but that first 1,500 meters, Mike, that's when you know almost instantly whether your servicemen have given you a great pair of skis or if it's going to be a very long journey.
It can be such a sinking feeling, and 17, who's completely out of the tracks, he is suffering. Einarsson suffering with his wax. So is Besmertnik. You see him slipping there a couple of times.
But he is the fastest man through 4.7 kilometers.
Well, that's good news for the Russian with slipping. He's doing that well.
200ths ahead of Tørnset, 2 seconds ahead of his teammate Larkov.
Juha Järvi, he's caught another of the German athletes.
I like the way that Johan Olsen's going. He's very steady, like Rickardson. They're 5, 6, 7 seconds off, going through 5.7 kilometers. So I think those two Swedish guys at the moment still very much to be kept an eye on. And Klæbo and Poltarainen running at exactly the same pace.
Juha Järvi, he's one of the few athletes, David, who I think he is without doubt stronger in the classic technique than he is in the freestyle. An out-and-out specialist in classic.
Yeah, and that's where it shows up in the team sprint as well.
Yeah.
He's made this wonderful partnership with Niskanen, and those two are dynamite when they get together in the team sprint.
Yeah, well, Niskanen is the new boy from Finland, and as I was walking to the track side, Juha Mieto, 69-year-old, 6'8", who was a legend in his day in cross-country skiing, quickly congratulated Niskanen, and Niskanen just carried on to the track, didn't say much to Juha Mieto.
And that's the big roar, because they've seen it on the scoreboard. Niskanen, 23 seconds. I'll tell you what, that's a big bite out of the apple.
That at 4.7 is a massive chunk out of the apple. That is a man on fire, and he looks so composed. He's so efficient in his technique.
Yeah, but is it a bit too much too early? That's the question. You've always got to wonder when somebody gets that quick, that early.
But again, possibly, but when you saw his reaction in the team sprint when he was taken out by the Norwegian, he was charging the gold, he was reduced to the bronze, and you just felt he's going to put some wrongs right today.
Polterainen at 9.5 kilometers, Turnsteth challenging him, and Polterainen through 9.5, 9 seconds ahead of Klæbo, 26 seconds ahead of Emil Jonsson, and now Turnsteth takes the lead there by 15 seconds ahead of Polterainen. Now that's and Bezmetnik now ahead of Turnsteth at 6 kilometers. I tell you, you really need to be on the money here if you're a coach doing the splits. I mean, some of these racers are going to be given not one, not two, but maybe 3 pieces of information.
Oh, definitely, and you need your information running as you go. Dierhaug, I think, will be disappointed that the deficit is so large to Niskanen.
Yeah, 23 seconds through 4.7 kilometers.
And this is the long haul where Dierhaug was from the stadium all the way up under the ski jump. Then you drop back down again and then back up to an even higher height.
Do you know what we're missing here, Mike? A big high camera that gives us a big geography so that all you folks at home can get an idea, because it's quite difficult for us to paint the picture of the loop. I wish we could do it for you, but I wish we could give you a big high camera picture to show exactly where they're going.
That would be good, and everything looks so similar as well. The woods and steep climbs. Halvorsen, his tempo has been reduced. Yes, he's a long way up the track.
Just looking for Sundby, of course, to come to 4.7 kilometers. Then we'll have a perspective, and here's the man wearing bib number 70.
Now, some are finding it faster out of the track, or were they just being very, very kind to let Sundby, the main man, through?
Looked to be good glide on his skis there for Sundby.
Well, we saw that with Dierhaug when he, like a bullet, went up the hill, and all that energy from the descent, he carried up into the next climb.
Heikkinen now, who of course is travelling ahead of Sundby by a minute approximately. And Larkov, but he's still very much on the premises there. 1.9 seconds behind Turnsteth. So just looking at that, those two haven't really changed. They're together. Now, Sundby, look at the deficit there. And that is 11.4 seconds.
Now, they listen to the cheer in the stadium. They've seen that on the big camera, and they know their cross-country skiing so well. If you're 11 down at this stage, you're on the limit to take the victory. Or has this man, Niskanen, gone too hard?
Well, Niskanen and Sundby went up the first 1,500 meters virtually in the same time. So that's the state of play. 4.7 kilometers. I think that's fine for Sundby, to be honest. I'm not too worried at the moment, because I have got a question mark of whether Niskanen's got a bit too excited, a bit too early.
Well, I just think the disappointment he showed when he was taken down, when he was heading for his gold in the team sprint, I really feel he's just wants to put that right today. And I think Muzzey's going very, very well. That's all the big players through at 4.7, and he still remains in 15th place. The margin is quite a long way behind Niskanen's time, but his position is very good.
Yeah, and he's a much improved classic skier because he's put a deal of work in, hasn't he, Mike?
Huge amount of work in the summer, and he really has made the classic almost as strong as his freestyle, Muzzey.
Could you sort of elaborate on that a little bit, Mike, about the sort of, you know, when you're not so proficient at classic and you're a natural skater, how you actually, what you actually have to physically do?
What Muzzey was doing was a huge amount of work on his roller skis to simulate the movement, the hip coming through. Look at Polterainen there, it's quite an upright position, sliding through from the hip, so to become more efficient, getting the timing, the compression through the ski just right, on good balance. All these factors working in the gym to strengthen your balance muscles. There's Muzzey, this is good, 9.5.
Yeah, he's the second of the two in the lighter, whiter race suit there. And yeah, this is still not a bad run here. Strong double poling from him.
Well, we saw in the Tour de Ski, he was one of only about 5 men who only double poled an entire 10-kilometer classic race, and he finished 17th. Olsen leaping out of the track. Sometimes in these conditions you get more grip when you step out of the prepared track. It's working for him, but he's going to be in deficit of Tønseth.
Yeah, Olsen, who at 5.7 kilometers was 37 seconds behind Niskanen, and in terms of Tønseth, he was 7 seconds down. That was at 5.7, so he's lost another second or two. Just looking 13.2 kilometers, so getting very close to the finish. Alexei Polterainen, and he's very much the pathway. He's doing a great job with all the disadvantages because he's out there to be shot at.
He is, and Polterainen going early because he hasn't been at the races so much this year. He hasn't been performing well, and that's reflected in his points. So an early start for him.
So Niskanen, Sundby clearly there. Besmertnik not far off either. And Besmertnik, he's got 28 seconds to make up. But Niskanen and Sundby are the two standout athletes at the moment.
Starega we saw just walking up the hill there. He's an out-and-out sprinter, and clearly finding the profile of this fearsome 15. It's really maybe a little too much for him.
Well, the bookmakers so far, Mike, seem to have got it right, because they made Sundby the 6-4 favourite, Niskanen the 4-1 second favourite.
I think it might be Niskanen's day.
Well, that would be quite something, wouldn't it, for a Finnish medal, a gold medal on home snow.
Very much. Polterainen, just that very sharp right-hander as it descends to the stadium for the final time.
Of course, Matti Häkkinen in 2011 in Oslo. 1989, Harri Kurvasniemi winning here in Lahti from Paul Gunnar Mikkelspass and Vegard Ulvang, and Polterainen now coming in to claim the coveted warm chair. And this is his best race of the season. And so it should be at the World Championships. Look at that. Real power. Plenty of petrol in the tank here. And Polterainen, 37 seconds to the good over the specialist sprinter Johansson of Sweden.
That's a good, strong finish. I think you'll know already that he will have been told out on the track that it's not a winning time today, but it's a good time.
Yeah, but it's a top 10 time.
Yeah. One of his, well, if not his season best up there, his second best. Juha Järvi sticking out of the track. The snow is faster out of the track. Now back into the track. Much easier to guide the skis when you're in the track as opposed to out of the track. You have to work your lower legs to guide the front of the ski forward. Some of the slower athletes starting after Sundby, so from 71 to what, 89 lower ranked.
Yeah, at Heikkinen having a real problem now, because if you look at him, he's behind Musgrave, behind Magnificat, behind Joajärvi, behind Johan Olsen. Johan Olsen at 5.7 kilometers early on, 37 seconds behind Niskanen.
Well, that's close. 4.4. Joajärvi will be told, given those split times, and he'll try and dig just that little bit deeper.
Well, apologies, we've just lost our pictures here for a moment, and we're back now.
Yeah, Niskanen just, he's really smooth going up that climb. He really is destroying the rest of the field.
13.2 kilometers, Turnsteth ahead of Polteranen by about 20 seconds. Polteranen, the leader in the clubhouse.
It's good to see the slow motion there, David. The explosiveness when he compresses down onto the ski to get the grip, and then very relaxed to maximize the glide after that hard work.
So 2/3 into the race, basically, and Niskanen from Besmatnik. Well, we both said, Mike, that he's going to be there or thereabouts, 37 seconds, but he's in with a shout of a medal. And Andrew Musgrave in 11th place at the moment. At that point, if he could... Now, how much petrol has he got left in his tank? Has he got enough to just push that little bit harder, drive for a top 10 finish, get another personal best in the World Championships?
Wouldn't that be fantastic? I think he has. Andrew Musgrave, he's one of these characters who, when he's given these split times, he'll dig deeper. He'll find another little X factor to try and propel him and gain a few seconds.
Joajärvi coming home. Well, he was a good 20 seconds down on Turnsteth, and Polteranen similarly. And Polteranen leads, but Joajärvi goes into provisional silver.
Impressive that he had the energy for a little wave, but actually when you come into the stadium, you've recovered quite a long way by 500-600 meters. You get your breathing under control.
Dear Hauk, well, these are big gaps back to Niskanen, aren't they? I mean, 40 seconds.
And looking at 9.5 kilometers now, David, Sumbi is 26 seconds behind Niskanen. At 9.5, he's destroying the rest of the field.
Oh, well, this is a quite remarkable performance by Niskanen, and Turnsteth now coming down on the lower terrace to this familiar, famous right-hander. First of these two.
Turnsteth, he's just so reliable. May not win many, but he's always in that top 8, top 7, top 6 at the end of these big endurance time trials. Well, Polteranen's been comfortable for a little bit of time.
Well, Niskanen fourth in the Olympic 15-kilometer classic race. And if he gets the gold medal here, that would be really something. But Turnsteth of Norway coming home here, and he's never been separated from Polteranen by very much as he comes down into, you can see there, the last 50 or so meters of the race. And he's found that extra pace. This is where the Norwegians really excel. They've got that extra little bit of gears at 13 seconds. He's taken those 13 seconds out of Polteranen effectively in the last 1,800 meters. And Sundby, by contrast, looking pedestrian.
He is. And well, the psychology of it, he's so used to winning, and now today he's been told he's 25 seconds off, and he hasn't even done 10 kilometers. His spirit will be a little broken, I would say.
And now, Mike, could that be material?
I think it wasn't an advantage going 70th. I think because we can see the snow is becoming wetter and wetter, slight disadvantage. Material, no, I think he's got a good grip. I think that Niskanen is just so determined.
So as you see the standings at 9.5 kilometers, and Niskanen with an unbelievably healthy lead. Musgrave, well, he's in 13th. This is still a terrific performance in Classic for him, because we expect him to do that much better in freestyle. So Classic, actually, this is a step forward at the moment, fingers crossed. But in the clubhouse, Didrik Turnstedt with a finger on gold, Poltaranin with his finger on silver, Järvi now on bronze, and you can see Halvarsson coming home now. Halvarsson, who was travelling at a similar speed to Poltaranin, but he's lost 8 seconds also in the last 1,800 metres.
Well, that's interesting. Maybe the descent off that hill, with the snow getting warmer and warmer as the day goes on, maybe it is a little slower down the final climb.
Now, Larkov was faster than Turnstedt at 13.2 kilometres by a second, that's all.
Well, this is going to be so close with, what, 50 metres to go.
Here he comes. 2, 1. Oh!
Level?
Yeah, level. Level. Joint gold medal leaders at the moment.
They've both got a finger on that podium.
Yeah.
It's not going to last long. And Järvi's toenail that he had on the podium, off now.
Yeah, Poltaranin to bronze, Järvi off, and Halvarsson down to 5th place. Klæbo, we haven't mentioned him, Mike, recently, but he's in 6th place in the clubhouse now, ahead of Jönsson. 20 years of age, so many seasons to come. Looks as if he's going to get stronger and stronger. He's only 20, but he's at least 5 years off his actual potential, isn't he?
Yeah, very, very much, and it'll be an experience. A top 10 will be quite amazing for the 20-year-old, if he can maintain that.
Turnstedt on the right of your picture there, and having a chat with Larkov.
Look at this climb, David. You can see way in the far distance. I wish we had a side camera just to show how steep these climbs are. 23, 24%. And even the bridge, just when you can't get enough oxygen in, you've then got to climb over the bridge at the top of the climb.
I mean, Larkov at the moment, the position of the finish, joint leaders there. But Larkov, what a terrific personal best he's looking at. You know, in Falun, it was his first World Championships. He was 26 in the 15-kilometre freestyle race, 27th in the 50-kilometre classic race. So, you know, he's 27. He's now, you know, into his prime. And that is a good race. That is a personal best by some way in championship racing for Larkov. There you can see Devon Kershaw, what a miserable season he's had.
He has. It's a real pity. Of course, has had so many good results, including medals at World Championships. Alex Harvey and Devon in 2011 taking the team sprint gold. 23
seconds between Besmertnik and Niskanen at 12.2 kilometres. This is coming to 13.2, where he's challenging Larkov. So Besmertnik is staying tough at the moment.
He's actually closing that deficit. He had 36 seconds earlier down the track.
So this is where Niskanen's early pace might just start to cost him, and if Besmertnik's got enough in the tank, he'll certainly have the motivation from the coaches, because they'll be giving him these splits, and now he just needs to get through this mini traffic problem.
A little bit of a traffic gathering. That's 58 just ahead of him. Burman, of course.
Defending champion Johan Olsen, the man who won in freestyle in 2015. Well, it'll be interesting to see what he does in the 50 over the coming weekend, the last day of the championships. But today you can see that he's always been there, but not close enough to do any damage.
It's good, you know, you would certainly want to include a time like that in your relay classic, but we know he's also very, very good in freestyle.
Andrew Musgraves finished in 38.11.4. He's currently in 7th place across the finish line.
That's it. That's really good from Andrew. And
I mean, he will drop down, but I mean, that's still pretty good.
Hopefully at top 14.
Hang on, he's taken the scalp of Klæbo, your man, Mike, by 11 seconds.
That's
I think you ought to send a bottle of wine round to the British camp.
Maybe I should. They won't touch it, though. Niskanen still absolutely focused beyond focus. He wants this more than anybody in the field.
Well, this is absolutely remarkable by Niskanen. And this is the moment, because Finland haven't had a gold medal at these championships.
It's incredible. And what about Sochi? Very similar to today, very wet snow. He was only 21-year-old, and he finished 0.2 of a second from the podium. And that was the biggest surprise in Sochi, I think, for me.
Now, this is the interesting part. We're looking at 1,800 meters to go, and clearly you can lose time on that final descent coming into the stadium.
You can, but the bottom of this climb, that's with about 2 kilometers to go, and then he's still got to go up over the bridge, but that's a magnificent time.
38-second cushion. Will it be enough? Will he run out of gas? Will Besmertnik find a little bit of extra pace? That's the big question out there, because those two men look booked for gold and silver.
They certainly do. Besmertnik, this is coming up to the final steep climb where Sundby broke his ski pole. It's a vicious 23% climb. Now it's an easy run home from here to the finish. Well, Besmertnik, I was saying, well, he's a very reliable 7th, 6th, 5th guy, but rarely does he bring something special to his game. Looks like he might be on the podium today.
But it also looks as if the Russians with Larkov, they've actually solved the weather conditions and the waxing conditions. So the 30-year-old Russian in picture, 7th in the Olympic Games, on his way home now.
I like this camera shot. It just lets you see how long these ski poles are, skis are in relation to the body, and all your weight transmitted down there equally on the downhill, so that the grip wax isn't making contact with the snow.
And he's heading towards the tunnels before he hangs to his right, goes up onto the, what I call the upper terrace, and then ultimately goes all the way along that and then turns left-handed, and the crowd will really see him then as Niskanen comes home. But this is Besmertnik.
Yes, into the stadium with 280 to go. What a day for Besmertnik, one of his best ever. We often see him pushing the classic pace in the skiathlons, but he drops away in the freestyle.
He was an under-23 silver medalist and bronze medalist. He's now 30 years of age, so that was some time ago. And they're back to Niskanen, and I can understand the director from Finnish television getting awfully excited. Here's Besmertnik. He's the second of these two in the background coming through, and he's challenging Turnsev for the advantage. Joint leaders no longer, because Besmertnik from Russia pushes both Turnsev and Larkov into joint silver, and you know what that means with Niskanen coming home. They could be getting joint bronze.
Blimey. Well, there's still a Sundby factor out there.
There is, that's true. Musgrave at the moment down into 8th place in the clubhouse.
Well done, Muzzy. Brilliant. Niskanen, what a day. Kivasniemi did it in, what, 89?
Yeah, absolutely. And Harri Kivasniemi that was. And here they come here into the stadium. And Matti Häkkinen won this title for Finland in Oslo in 2011. And then, as you rightly said, Mike, you have to go back to 1989, Harri Kivasniemi. And then you have to go back to 1985, Kari Häkkinen, who won it for Finland. Those are the only Finns who've ever won this 15-kilometer classic race. But surely there's a new name on the roll of honor. And in the famous Lahti Stadium, it's Niskanen driving for gold here. And they're on their feet on both sides of the stadium. Besmertnik is about to be reduced to silver. And Niskanen into gold.
What a fight. He had to keep composure. Good to see the base of his skis, actually, to see the silver clister that he's had to use there. What a performance. The best day of his skiing life.
Iivo Niskanen, 25 years of age, a member of the Bukati ski team, and his favorite hobbies, food and sleep. And again, both of those today, plus a bottle of champagne.
You need both of those elements to make you perform as well as you can. Food and sleep. Dedicated man.
Deerhaug now, and Deerhaug, well, Sundby actually at 13.2 kilometers, Mike, is now just working this out, 14. That would take him up to 13 for 21 seconds behind.
Well, Sundby is making a mammoth effort there to close that gap. Surely even Sundby can't pull all of those 21 back.
Right, but he's travelling. Sundby is ahead of Deerhaug, and Deerhaug is ahead of Besmertnik. And Besmertnik and Deerhaug, there were 2 seconds between them at the 13.2 kilometer stage. And you can see there that Besmertnik being challenged for that silver medal, and well, silver medal at the moment, because this is all unofficial. And Deerhaug of Norway into silver, Besmertnik down to bronze, and that means that Turnsteth and Polteranen are now off the podium.
Well, isn't that interesting? And Deerhaug breaking the code and going to the papers and saying, why have you left me out? I think he's justified them, including him now in this 15 kilometer.
And 15 seconds to Sundby. It's his advantage over Deerhaug. And maybe it's going to be for Besmertnik, like you suggested, Mike. He's going to finish 5th, 6th.
But it does indicate that the very easy part, the glide factor, that Besmertnik skis were terrible. There was no glide. Well done, Iivo.
And they are chanting, Iivo, Iivo. And I think he's about to be given the freedom of Lahti.
What an effort. What a day for Niskanen.
But this is Sundby. You never write him off. He really looked to be struggling in the second third of the race.
Yes, he did. He went out fast, but not quite as fast as Niskanen. And I think that would have unsettled him to get all these splits that he wasn't able to attain, and his psychology had to change, had to be different today.
Well, he's not going to overtake Niskanen, is he? Because 200 plus meters to go. He's in the glide, he steps out, he goes on the inside, and trying to cut and save every millisecond to bring himself home. So he's out of gold. Now he's chasing silver. He's Norway versus Norway, and it's now Sundby versus Deerhaug. Iivo takes the congratulations, and now he's coming up, and he's going to miss surely. Or is he going to miss? No, he's not. He's going to get Deerhaug. And Sundby goes silver, Deerhaug goes bronze, and Besmertnik is off the podium in 4th place.
How Sundby would have loved to have picked up that 100th gold for Norway, but not today, not to be. What about Deerhaug? That's the most impressive for me, the fact that he was left out. He's back included, and he's on the podium.
Andrew Musgrave at the moment 12th. Huge excitement in this stadium.
He seems a man of few words. I watched him, couldn't understand a thing on telly the other night when he was taken down by a Norwegian. It was an accident with 120 meters to go, and he was chasing gold. It was almost round his neck. He was so fast behind Iversen, and he was a man of very few words. Hopefully he'll say a few more tonight. That was sensational. And Niskanen just keeping the focus, knowing when Sundby is behind you all the time, you have to keep the pressure on.
Well, here, I can tell you now, here's a question. Olympic champion in Sochi in the team sprint with Järvijärvi, but does this rate higher?
I think so. At home, under all the pressure and the spotlight. Fabulous.
The under-23 world Well, a crescendo of noise for Leivo Niskanen, and now apart from the Olympic Games, and you know that's the difference, isn't it? You know, the gold medal in the team sprint, that was something he shared with Jari, but this is all his own. And there you can see Andrew Musgrave confirmed in 12th place. Now in World Championship racing, in a classic race, that's another personal best.
It's incredible. 12th in the world. This is the sport of for the Nordic nations, the nations with a huge amount of snow. Where Andrew's from, maybe 5 days real snow a year where you can actually ski, and I think it's a magnificent performance once again. Watch you don't drop them.
Right, and this is what they do. These are the gladiators, and there is the #1 gladiator. Sundby to the left, Pierhaug to the right, and Leivo on top of them both.
I'm really delighted, so happy for Pierhaug. He's a worker, he's a lovely guy, and he's got this opportunity today, and he turned it into bronze.
Let's respect one or two others, Mike. Besmertnik in 4th place for Russia, the best for his nation ahead of teammate Larkov. Both personal bests in World Championship racing over this distance. Excellent. Turnseth for Norway in 5th, equal place with Larkov. Poltaranin for Kazakhstan. We thought he'd be sort of thereabouts. He's in the top 10 ahead of Jari. That's a good race because those men were going early. Johan Olsen ahead of teammate Kalle Halvarsson, 9th and 10th, the best for Sweden, and Matti Häkkinen in 11th place, just ahead of Andrew Musgrave. But he's a man.
You're already the Olympic champion with Sammy in Sochi, world champion here in Latvia, in your home country. It must be amazing.
Yeah, I'm wondering many years that I will be someday as good as Mikael Myllylä, and now I'm world champion in Latvia, and it means a lot for me. And I had awesome skis. Crossing all the guys have made a really good job, and also Finnish service team. Maybe I had to do good glide in team sprint, but today was an individual race and no one was before me, so in the downhill. So that's a big deal for me.
Yeah, we could see it all day in the splits. You were up there. Martin was behind you, but were you aware that it was you had such a gap on him?
Yeah, I heard many times during the race, and I race here in Scandinavian Cup, and I decided that today I will not start too hard for first 2 kilometers. I started well. A stable speed to 2.5 kilometers. Then I go to push as hard as I can, and maybe at the end I had two nice feelings on the track that I didn't fight anymore. And at the end it was feeling so good.
Oh, well, congratulations, world champion, 15 Classic here in Finland. Way to go.
Thank you.
Interesting, Mike, at just shy of 5 kilometers, Niskanen was 11.4 seconds ahead of Sundby at the finish line, 17.9 seconds. So he whatever questions Sundby was asking, Niskanen was always answering them.
And interesting, Niskanen, when he knew clearly that he was so far ahead, he enjoyed this incredible moment, probably so memorable for the rest of his life, that he backed off a little in the final, 1 kilometer.
Yeah, at 9.5 kilometers, Niskanen was 25 seconds ahead of Sundby. So the gap grew, and then the Sundby charge started to come in by 13.2 seconds, 13.2 kilometers. Sundby had reduced the gap, but he was still 21 seconds. So in that last 1,800 meters, Sundby took the deficit from 21 to 17, but it was just too big a deficit.
It was, and interesting as well that Leivo was saying he raced here at the Scandinavian Cup. That was in January. A number of the big names, Poltarainen did it then as well, ignored the World Cup racing. And that's quite interesting. Niskanen saying he went far too hard on that occasion. He won the race anyway, but what he did was he learned to take it easy. And I think we said how pedestrian he went out of the stadium. He was just building up to his max at 2.5.
And in Otapa, He was the runner-up to Sundby by 37 seconds on the Sunday before the opening of the championships. So he's turned round that 37-second deficit at Ottobre into gold by 17.9 seconds.
Incredible. Was it home advantage? Was it this moment? He said he's dreamt about this moment all of his life, and that brings something special to your game.
Yeah, you must get some sort of boost out of this, out of this crowd all around the track here. And I'm going to revise that. It was more than 20,000 people here. We haven't been given an official number, but all the people that we saw around the track with all those Finnish national flags, great. Absolutely great. And I've no doubt that that was, you know, pushing him and urging him and keeping him going.
Oh, definitely. I'm just looking at the finish there, and what's surprising me, not that many Swedish flags in the top 10, just one in fact, but all 4 of them are in the top 14, so they're just off the pace really. And I think they had a little waxing issue today. We saw them slipping. Halvorsen really didn't have much grip early on.
Yeah, the best Swiss, Jonas Baumann, in 17th place, looking a little bit further down. We talked about the evergreen Lukas Bauer, finished in the top 20, Mike. Okay, 2 minutes off, but, you know, respect.
Oh, very much. and I keep looking at the British flag, and Andrew Musgrave, a 12th in a World Champs. It's sensational. It's there with the best, and the margins are not too huge. There are small factors now in order to, well, the bronze medal was 31 seconds behind gold. So Andrew's in touch and distance of that podium regularly. So regular this season. He's a top-class, world-class athlete.
Yeah, and it's a team effort, so well done to Roy and his boys.
Oh, it was
Roy Young and his boys.
Yeah, Roy just invited me round to the wax cabin. I just looked in. It was frantic. Didn't want to disturb them. Routines have to remain. And so many people working so hard in the background.
Well, this man, Leivo Niskanen, now goes on the short list for Sochi honours, doesn't he?
I think for Pyeongchang honours.
Oh, sorry, Pyeongchang honours, yeah, beg your pardon. Yeah, because he was so close in Sochi.
Yes, so, well, 0.2 a second. Yeah, I think so. And I think the track profiling Pyeongchang, from what I've seen, it's going to be brutal, like this one, and that will suit Niskanen.
Yeah, 25 years of age. The other thing, Mike, you know, I mean, you know, he's been performing well in the World Cup. This is easy hindsight, isn't it? But, you know, I know you looked at the 15-kilometre races, classic races in the season of the World Cup. He opened up in Ruka with a 15-kilometre classic success.
He did. He looked fantastic. He's done that before. He did that in 2015 as well, the Ruka Classic 15. So we knew he had the potential to win. He proved it at World Cup level. Often the first World Cup of the season is a little skewered because they're on the back of very hard training and then tapering down. But hey, this is when it matters most, and he put it together. Further down, David, just looking at Andrew Young, 4 minutes off the pace, 46th, you know, well and truly in the race, and he's an out-and-out sprinter. And Callum Smith, I think that's good at 57th position, 5 minutes off the lead time.
And Niskanen not really involved in the Tour de Ski.
No, and I think that's sensible. You can easily over-race and then burn up the desire and the feelings and the magic that you need for this one special day.
And, I mean, you know, Mike, I was alluding to the fact that I thought the times would be quick. We were talking 38, 36:44.
It's fast.
That is quick.
That is,
and that does show the conditions out there as well were quick.
Yes, absolutely, relatively quick. Very undulating course, so for all the work you're doing, you get very short, quick recoveries.
These men coming home here now, a little bit of respect for them because they had to qualify to get into the competition. That was last week. And they're now coming home and to finish their challenge.
And James Croney finished 8th on the qualifying race 1 week ago today, tomorrow in fact. And so he's still out on the track. This could be him now coming around the final bend.
Indeed it is. Young, only 20. What's it? His dad's French, his mother's English, so well, he's still a junior, isn't he?
He is, and this is a 15 kilometres is always a bit of a test over this kind of terrain for any young athlete. And then Klæbo, yes, I really thought he could bring something special to the table. He's 15th today. just small margins again. I'm sure at this time next year he'll be one of the favourites for a medal in Pyeongchang.
And the important thing for young Kline is, you know, when he sees Andrew Musgrave performing as Andrew is now, there's a target for him to aim at, to work towards.
Oh, and to be training with, living with, watching, learning everything that Muzzy and Andrew Young do, it's a great place to be for your learning, to put your game right. Well, the Jimmy, well done.
Yeah, that'll be a pretty happy late lunch table. But there won't be a better table than Leivo Niskanen's. I don't know what time he's going to get out of the stadium tonight for all the interviews he's going to do. I do hope we wait for the medal ceremony, or well, not the medal ceremony, but the flower ceremony, because I think it will be a very proud moment to hear your national anthem in your own, you know, national stadium.
Oh, a huge moment for Niskanen, huge moment for the World Championships and all the 1,000-odd volunteers to get a Finnish gold. That's special. And they were so close in the team sprint. They were almost touching the podium when Niskanen was brought down by Iversen by mistake and finished in bronze medal.
Just a reminder again of our email address to get in touch with Mike and myself. NordicSkiTV@gmail.com is your window to throw any questions, thoughts, comments to us. We'd be more than happy to hear from you, as literally the last few come home now. And until they do come home, the flower ceremony can't begin. And just a reminder, of course, that very shortly the Nordic combiners will be piling into this stadium for the second and concluding part of their Big Hill individual competition as well today.
.5:59 behind Kovacs. Well, there's a benchmark how to turn that around for Pyeongchang in 1 year's time. A lot of training. Little shake of the head there. That was painful. Demar, an experience. I noticed when Bersmetnik came across the line, all the athletes wearing pulse watches. Bersmetnik, his pulse was just under 190, and that's really just arm power along this home straight at the end of the race. Often the pulse will be going over 90% of your actual maximum heartbeat within this race. .29-year-old Sayed just crossing the line and finishing 78th, 8:49 behind.
Yeah, Dehaug, very important for him because it's his first individual World Championship medal. You know, he got a gold in Falun with the Norwegian team, but again, a little bit like Leivo Niskanen was saying, well, yeah, I got this Olympic gold medal with Yaojärvi, but this is sort of extra special because it's all me. And he didn't mean that in any sort of arrogant way. It's just that, you know, to do it alone, to do it by yourself, that's the hardest thing.
What an achievement. And many viewed this race, the 15-kilometer classic, over the years, the many years of cross-country competitions, as kind of the blue-ribboned event. This is the one to win, and now Niskanen's got it. He knows how it works. Could well do it again in Pyeongchang next year.
And I suppose this, in a way, gets Sundby back on track, because if you remember, he dominated, or was dominating the World Cup season going into Falun, then got sick, and Falun was zero.
Yeah, Sundby's been surprising, and Sochi as well. He was dominating before Sochi 2014, and we expected great things. Yes, he got the bronze medal in the skiathlon, 4th place in the 50, but not quite touching the podium as often as we thought.
I mean, that's his 3rd individual silver medal in World Championships for Sundby. He's got 2 over the 30-kilometre skiathlon distance, and he's got a bronze from Oslo from the 15K, and now he's got another silver for the 15K.
Yeah, we expect so much from him because he gives so much at World Cup that he's always the favourite. And as you said, he was the favourite today, but one man, Niskanen, just wanted it that little bit more.
Yeah. Well, I think they're just about to prepare the flower ceremony podium. Nobody's left. Well, very few have left. Yeah, that's a worry, isn't it? You know, robots are taking over everywhere.
Oh, there he is again. Keeping an eye on things.
No, I think it's always a very special moment for a country when they win a gold medal at home. And, OK, we're into the 2nd week. Palmakoski got an excellent silver in the skiathlon behind Marit Bjørgen. I think there's another medal for the Finnish women on offer in the relay
tomorrow.
And you know, I think also Palmakoski, Kerttu Niskanen, they can be reckoned with in the 30.
I think they can be. Absolutely. And
will they put Saarinen in the 30?
They'll take inspiration from today. Saarinen, oh, I don't know. Not sure. Not sure about that one. Who knows? But Saarinen definitely is on form. We saw that in Otapa. She was there with the Monanen. She was there with Kiloinen. She's there with the best of the Finns. And I think the Finnish team will be really looking at the gold, not just the silver tomorrow in the relay, but the Norwegian women are going to be such a hard task to beat them.
And here's Mr. Batmont from Mongolia, the 3rd fastest qualifier last week, and getting a rousing cheer. Look at the fans banging on the sideboards there to help him home. And, well, who cares that he's 84th? Just well done to him for conquering Lahti's trails.
He's improved so much. I think his equipment maybe let him down today, and he doesn't have much in the way of a team. I was expecting a little better than that because he is maturing. We've seen him for, what, the last 5-6 major championships.
Well, this is the enduring photographs that are going to be shown for years and years and years. And now we can confirm absolutely that Leivo Niskanen is the world champion over 15 kilometers classic style, the first Finn to win gold here at the 7th edition of the World Championships to be hosted in Lahti. Martin Jonsson Sundby a silver, and in 3rd place Nicholas Dyrhaug for Norway. Andrew Musgrave confirmed in 12th place, and again a solid, a personal best and a promising classic performance, and that is reward for the work that he put in all through the summer.
Yep. And what's going to happen next year? He'll be putting more work in again, and I think Andrew, hopefully next year, will be a real contender for the podium.
Yeah, and you look at the company he's keeping. You know, Heikkinen, who you know, was winning in 2011, is just a teeny-weeny bits ahead of him. Rickardson, who was a bronze medalist at the Olympic Games in Sochi, is just behind him, and he's not, well, he's within a second of the likes of Olsen, Halvarsen, a couple of seconds away from, well, 6-7 seconds away from Jauhajärvi and Poltaranin.
Yeah, he's in great company. There's James Clooney at 68th. 6:55 was that behind. Yeah, Muzzy's in the pack there without a doubt.
And there, one or two who found it a bit too tough. It was just not their day.
And if the wax isn't right or your skis are not working, you just cannot compete. You need servicemen, and that's where Muzzy, with a great team, you mentioned them earlier, they're all working so hard to get the best possible glide, the best possible grip over 15 kilometers.
Podium being readied, but here's a few of those pictures of the medalists. Deerhawk. Now, Mike, you know, he might never have been here today.
Interesting, he was so annoyed he was just going to walk away from the team. He complained to the papers. They said, no, we're only taking him as reserve. And he's got that one chance and he's turned it to bronze. Great story. And that disappointment, he's put it right on the track.
Sundby, well, he's never far away, is he? But today, he was bettered by a man inspired.
Leivo Niskanen was without a doubt on fire. Took it easy to begin with. And Sundby tried. He tried every millimetre to close the gap. An advantage to Sundby. He was given all the timings, the split timings, in which he needed to do to win the race.
But this is special, and care to his sister. Well, she's going to be inspired, isn't she, by her brother's achievement. You can see, you know, he's a tall guy, isn't he? Long levers.
He is, and light body weight. You need that light body weight factor to carry that body weight up all the climbs over this 15.
And you give everything.
Nothing, absolutely nothing left. I'm sure the wax technicians wouldn't have been happy that he displayed the skis to the world, but that's the way it goes.
And you saw there the difference, and you'll see it again in a moment, the difference in stature between Sundby and Leivo Niskanen.
Yeah, Sundby's just like a big giant muscle. You know, he's small, well, not a big giant, he's small but so muscly. Niskanen is taller, slimmer, more athletical.
Well, he will get a big welcome tonight in the town square. But there, Johan Olsson wore that bib 2 years ago. Now it's passed from Sweden to Finland. Interesting numbers there. 64 wins from 70 and 66, with 60 in fourth place. So it's that little group of athletes in that territory. But of course, Norway must wait a while longer for that 100th gold medal.
Could it be tomorrow in the women's relay? Most likely.
And who would be on the anchor leg for that, do you wonder? Could it be a certain Madame Bergen?
I think it most likely will be. But Sundby would have wanted that today. He tried to get it today, but not strong enough.
So, champion of the world at the age of 25. He won the under-23 title, 15 kilometers classic style. But now, this is the real deal.
Hey, this is what Ahti needs. This is what Finland wanted. They've got it now. Party time.
Yeah, this is the new chapter for Finnish cross-country skiing.
The winners will be awarded by Mr. Victor Duran, CEO Intersport International.
And now, momentarily, another proud moment to stand on the top step of the podium and to listen to the national anthem. And he'll be carried in, out, around and everywhere. He surely has the freedom of Lahti, the champion, Leivo Niskanen. to do it in your own country, on your home snow, in the 100th year of the independence of your country, it doesn't get better than that. I hope you've enjoyed this race. We've been privileged, from Mike Dixon and myself, David Goldstrom, for the moment. Bye-bye from Lahti.